just figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 31st of
Hey.
August. Woo!
Is
That
it?
means
I didn't know that.
Vida is over, and I did a whole 5 videos in that month when I was meant to do 31. So, as a last hurrah, I thought I would hang out with my 2 great friends who I was in a musical band with back in Tasmania, Launceston, the little hole of a place where incest is normal, is Elijah Bradbury, who played the beautiful flute solo, and Julian Hofsink, who has a bit of a stretched face because of his webcam ratio. But he
Oh,
doesn't
so you're-
look normally like a Big Mac that's been squished on someone's seat.
Well, I would argue.
Can I fix this?
Nah, it's okay. It means you've got a bigger grin when you smile, Julian. It means you're more happy when you smile. Okay, Elijah, tell us a little bit about you and what you do and how you became friends with me.
Well. That's a story, actually. Well, not really much of a story. I basically, I'll start with putting it out there. I love music, and that's pretty much my life at the moment. I used to live in a little town, like in the middle of Tasmania, called Poatina, and like
Even smaller than Launceston.
even smaller than Launceston.
Like, not
was
little, it's
approximately
micro.
it's fluctuating from 50 to 150 residents during the time I was there, which was since I was 1 to 16, I think. But yeah, then I moved to Launceston. Then I went to the same school as Ben and Julian, and basically got to know them pretty well when we decided to put our collective musical geniuses together and enter Rock Challenge, which is like a well, what is it, Ben? I don't even know how to describe it.
It's a hot melting pot for people who have a musical itch to come together and fight each other with instruments. It's a bloody warfare.
Correct.
However, I think we met before. We kind of got to know each other a little bit before that.
A little bit, yeah.
Next time I met you, what's some memories you have before we were in Rock Challenge of me and Julian? What's some funny things? I remember hugging you a few times and kind of like idolizing you and praying with you.
That's true. That's true. That's
What
very
else?
true. Yeah, no, like, yeah, that's very true. We did get to know each other before that time.
But not as well.
Not as well. That's true. Yeah.
What was your
Which-
first impression of me, and what was your first impression of Julian Hofsink?
You. Let's think.
Obviously, one that wasn't too impactful.
No, you actually were quite impactful. You were the guy at school who I didn't see much of because you were either in classes or studying or out doing things, and that's something I looked up to, and I was like, wow, he's dedicated to what he's doing.
Being generally productive.
Which was not really what I was doing at that time. I don't think I studied at all at school. Every time I had free, I would be playing table tennis or watching YouTube videos. But and Julian, was that weird
guys,
kid at school.
Guys, we have one viewer. I haven't even shared this video, and we have one viewer. Oh my
Wow,
goodness!
that's amazing. Hello, viewer.
Shout out to you, viewer.
Viewer.
Shout out to you.
Yeah.
If you are viewing this, go and comment on it because I want to know who you are. Please.
Yeah.
I actually think no. I realized that's a lie. It was actually me.
Oh.
I had my Google tab.
Oh.
I was watching my own video.
Well,
maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, continue with
confidence booster anyway.
your encouragement to me. I'm really loving this. It's
Well,
beautiful.
you Ben, I'm done with you.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
I'm moving to
There's not much
Julian
left
now.
to say.
Hey.
No, not really. I think first time I met Julian was actually before I moved to Launceston at a mutual birthday party where we were.
Oh.
It was a not sleepover,
Okay.
where instead we played computer games for the entire night. And I remember looking at Julian going, he has a pretty sick head of hair. I love that head of hair. I wish I could have that hair on my head. And that's pretty much where it started. Can I? How much?
We'll discuss this later.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. I've just shared our thing on Facebook so we can have random stalkers.
Sweet. Oh yeah.
I stalk myself.
Yeah, you can. You can stalk. Don't you do that often? I often
I
see you
don't
liking
actually.
your own I see you liking your own posts quite a bit, Julian.
Oh,
Oh, that's a funny status. Like.
well, what can I say?
What can you say? Obviously not much if you keep going through and liking your own statuses. You've got nothing else. That was a bit rude. I'm sorry. Okay, I've got to keep switching between cameras so the viewers don't get bored of who they're looking at. All right, Julian, your turn. First time you met me, some funny things, and then Elijah, like what you remember Elijah.
Okay. So way back when
When I was a little boy living in a shoebox.
on the stairs.
Albuquerque.
No, I met. Oh, I bumped my desk. I met Ben through his little brother Cameron, who is also one of my best friends to this day. And that would have been ages ago though. Like,
that would have been in almost primary school, eh?
yeah, because I think I really got to know you and your family, you know, back grade 2, 3 even, and that
Yep.
would have been almost 8 or 9 years ago, which is insane.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, to think about it, actually, yeah. Julian, you got to put on sunglasses now. Sorry.
Oh, hold on, wait.
I want to see something.
While he's dashing.
Okay.
That was quick. That was quick.
Yeah, I've got them.
I can't really do
So,
that. My headphones are too
Feeling much cooler now that we've got sunnies.
We can see ourselves reflecting.
big. It was too much, so I had to.
Back to the story.
Yeah.
I think Ben and I mostly bonded through our similar passions in. I think we both loved a bit of graphic design and especially music was huge. So we loved to play a guitar together and jam out and have a merry old time. And so when we did a whole recommended retail price. What?
You were much better at guitar than I was.
Oh,
Still are to this day. 2 years. 2 years younger.
I'd say you're more dedicated than anything. Like, you put a lot of time and effort into learning theory and all kinds of cool techniques that I never bothered doing. So,
dude, don't talk me up. You know, I don't spend much time. Although it does look like I do. I've got a music stand out. That's what I want people to think when they come into my room. But
wow, you're so cool.
Yeah, Ben.
Hi, I've just been learning Beethoven's Fourth on guitar.
And I've actually got it open to a page that I can't actually read. Like, the notation's way too difficult for me, but it makes me look like I'm good.
Oh dear.
It's genius.
Yeah, just like put fancy looking music lying around your room so people think you're like really educated and smart and stuff.
Exactly. I have like
Or you can be Elijah who actually knows what he's reading.
That's what I was gonna say. Or you can be Elijah who's just a musical prodigy behind those smooth AK G headphones.
He's like a proper pilot there. Aviators, huge
And the
AKG headset. It's
headphones.
awesome.
Hold on, let me make the sound for you. You can do the chopping sound, Julian. Go. Ch 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 ch. Ready?
And then nice rock my note.
Okay, I think he's landed.
Oh, and then that was that.
Hey, we've got 2 viewers.
That was
2 viewers.
Is it?
you
It's not
Shout
just
out to-
us.
I hope it's not. I don't really mind though because I'm really enjoying talking to you
Jumped
guys.
up to 3. It's just me.
So,
just open tabs.
Julian,
Oh, my
Julian
goodness, my
now
head is mushroom.
talk about Elijah. Talk about memories of Elijah because
Okay,
memories go way
so-
back. We could talk about that time when we did that video for. Do you remember the TV show we made when we were in Year 6? It was called Average People, Average Jobs. Average People, Average Jobs. Boom, shot, boom.
Oh,
boom,
like with the
Yes,
guy
man.
that like the airport metal detector.
airport,
dude,
yeah.
He like stole the
Yeah, and
spoon
it's
off
kind
the
of
guy.
That's it, because
no.
he thought it was a gun, but it was actually a spoon in his pocket that
Real
when he went
B
through the metal
grade
detector.
home movies.
Dude, it wasn't even
Oh.
B grade, it was C grade. I didn't have a grade, you know, it didn't even pass the movie test.
It didn't even
It
make
failed
it
the exam.
on the spectrum. It just.
Absolutely.
Oh, I thought
I know. Quickly,
He's
quickly, away from Elijah, so no one knows.
No, do you want me to
Awesome.
talk about Elijah a bit?
That's
Yeah,
better.
talk about Elijah whilst I try and promote this talk a little bit more.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I met Elijah at this this friendly neighborhood LAN party get together, and I guess I didn't really converse with him much there, but I don't know, we sort of met each other and got to know each other a little, and but over the course of last year, when he came to LCS, it's one of those dumb things, but I think we mostly became friends through a video game, which is that's kind of sad, but it's also great because we became really good friends outside of the game as well. So you know, because we shared a whole passion in music and all that, and yeah, we've just been really good mates, and it's awesome.
Fantastic. That is a beautiful story. You should turn that into an essay.
It's almost a love story, except we're not in love. We're just friends.
There's no, you know, attraction on the physical side. I suppose
That
that
is true.
Julian is a very handsome man, and Elijah is quite charming.
Well, I get it from the people who I hang out with, so you know, like
Oh.
That's cute. That's
I'm a
sweet.
Google
Such
hanger.
a gem.
Speaking of charming, I remember when we were performing a rock challenge, and we've got 0 viewers now. They got bored with you, Julian. Whatever you were saying was quite boring.
have I
Sorry,
done?
man. You scared them off. You did the dog in. You know the guy after the news who does that dog thing. They come bounding over.
I came bounding down the road.
Bounding down the road, and they went. That's what you did to our
I didn't
viewers.
watch
Now we've only got 1 viewer. It could be anyone. Okay. So when we're at Rock Challenge,
Yep.
and we're on stage, what were some of the things the audience was doing whilst we were on stage, particularly the young female teenagers?
It's directed at you, Julian.
Wait, is this the story that got like mixed in translation?
No, I was just talking in general, man.
Well,
You guys made me look
don't
good.
know how
Let's
to
be
answer.
honest. Like your voices and your musical ability kind of made me look much more attractive than I was. And so when the guy asked, "Are any of you guys single?" and I was the only one who was single, you know, suddenly I had a picking of 30 well underage teenagers.
but But you had found your true
Yes.
love there at the Rock Challenge already. We found your wife.
You brought this up yourself, man. It's now started. We're going to talk about it.
No, we're not talking about that.
So tell us about this girl. The first time you laid eyes on your true love, Ben.
Oh, you know. Basically, it's called not love. It's called infatuation.
Here we go.
Here we go. Theology lesson 101 in biblical love. Basically, I was like, oh my goodness, this girl can sing and she can be pretty at the same time. How's that possible? And she's famous.
Well, you do it.
She did have a beautiful voice.
Her voice was amazing, but it wasn't love. I was like, this girl's cool. Although, you know, there was a slight bit of disappointment there when I checked the Facebook.
When you found out she was, still feel for you to this day.
So not. Let's ever talk about that ever again. I'm glad we just didn't bring up like what songs are about and things like that. That would have been much worse.
Yeah.
Oh no, but now you need to tell us what were they about.
No, it's okay. We'll leave that one for another time. So now we've got two viewers. We better actually talk about things that are relevant. So I'll talk about how I met Elijah and Julian. So again, if you weren't watching before, I met Julian through my little brother. Brought a friend over, and I thought, I'm going to snavel him right up. You can't be friends with him anymore. He's mine for entertainment.
Friends net.
Cut out the friendship. We're down to one viewer. I thought that was boring. Okay. Two viewers again. Okay. So yeah, cut that friendship right out and use him as a backing track so I could solo over. And Julian was a pretty rad guy. He had a high voice. But so did I. You know, we were both kind of like squeaking little penguins on Tasmania. We were like, "Hi, my name's Julian. Hi, my name's Ben." And
Huddling together for warmth on our
huddling
poor
together,
island.
absolutely. We made lots of videos together, and both had a mutual bond based on the fact we had blonde hair. And a love for instruments. But I met Elijah. How did I meet Elijah? I think I was just like, who is this cool kid wearing these cool swaggin' clothes? I'd never seen someone wear like awesome bow ties and suits before. And then he just randomly plays in an assembly and blows everyone's minds with the fact that he has this.
When was that? Which one?
Yeah, that's what I mean, right?
Was it a song that I sung to as well?
I think it was a blues song, yeah, that you wrote. Like, I knew you as a person, but I didn't know you were like that musically talented.
No. What was it?
Anyway, for instance, like he could just pull,
I remember the song
his
that I
whistle
can't get
up
the name.
now and just like play something amazing. Hold on, musical interlude. Let me just quickly grab a guitar so it doesn't seem like Elijah's hopelessly lost. Oh, here we go. He's got it.
Well, my acoustic guitar is not in sight.
Beautiful.
There you go. There's the Hobbit for you. Any requests?
So all love music. You can see a guitar on Julian's wall. So I've got some questions. And stories. Let's tell some stories. Julian, what's a story you want to tell about Rock Challenge? What's some funny things that happened, or some stories in general you want to tell about me or Elijah?
This can be really fun if I pick a good story.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Elijah. You can pick your story and think.
Oh no! I was still thinking. I was like, yes, Julian's going
well,
first.
How about I go, because I can just make one up and pretend it actually happened.
Yeah.
So we were walking to the supermarket this one time. And Julian's like, "Hey, oh my goodness, you know what I'm craving right now?" And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Blue lemonade." Like, "Blue lemonade?" And he's like, "Blue lemonade." Oh my goodness! Get me some of that blue lemonade. I've got an addiction to that blue lemonade. It was like his drug. He couldn't go on without blue lemonade. And so we scoured Tasmania high and wide for this blue lemonade, and finally we finished Rock Challenge. We get home, and Dad finds blue lemonade at the local supermarket, and kind of, you know. Sorry, Julian. You're probably still buzzing and can't sleep at night because you still haven't had your fix of blue lemonade yet.
Oh, we also
Well,
wasn't it?
in the end,
You found a
in the
label,
end, I found some.
in some.
JB Hi-Fi.
Oh no!
like
right.
a label
We
in like a
found-
petrol station or something, but it said blue lemonade.
Yeah.
But there was no
Oh
blue
yeah,
lemonade.
we found an empty
We found the label
blue
and
lemonade. There was no blue lemonade in there, right? So it's kind of like this false advertising, false hope. You see the McDonald's sign on the horizon. You think, yes, I can finally go to the toilet. Oh my gosh, I've been in this car for 8 hours driving straight, drinking nothing but coffee, and therefore I am very, very flushed out. I need to go. And then you get to McDonald's and you realize it's not a 24-hour McDonald's and they are closed. That's what that feeling was like.
Worst
Hard
feeling.
times they were.
Absolutely. It was like a cringe in the bladder area.
Hard times they were.
Elijah, did you think of a story?
I was too engrossed with your story. Let's have a think.
Okay, I'm going to change my apparel. Whilst you're thinking, I'm going to get some stuff.
Change your apparel. That sounds absolutely
I'll be
beautiful.
back.
Oh, look, a story. What other stories do we have? I don't know, what else have we done, Julian?
It was a good time when we went round to your place, and it came time for the glorious lunch, and we decided to make pizza. Ben needs to hear this, sweetie.
Hey, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Oh dear. Okay.
Eddie,
Oh,
Then we
man,
were
I
just
need
Don's
we were
the,
just about to
I need
start the
Carla to
story.
really show this off, right?
We're about to
That's
start the
better.
story of when we made delicious pizza at Elijah's house.
Oh, the meaty pizza.
so delicious.
Mm.
The pizza.
So we were making this pizza, and we decided it needs a bit of cheese. So we put some cheese on. And then I decided I think this could really do with a bit more cheese. So we put a bit more cheese on. And then we came to this mutual agreement that it just needed more cheese. And just a bit more meat and some more cheese. And so, in the end, we had delicious pizza, and Ben had a lovely, incredibly sonic.
Are you watching
Uh,
it?
it was
Come
the
in.
saltiest, yet tastiest pizza I have ever tasted in my
We've got a live viewer.
entire life.
This is my live.
Welcome live.
Come in the studio. Here, put these headphones on.
Live.
Our technology right there.
Beautiful.
Well, howdy.
Hey.
Live viewer.
Hey. Yeah.
I will play you a little song.
Is this?
This is Andrew.
I'm getting the phone. Okay, cool. Yeah, I had a friend who always used to carry one of those around, and it was like up his sleeve, and then he'd just whip it out at random and just go. He also played the bagpipes,
I think I'm just
But
gonna
then-
start doing that. I'll just
but then
put it up there.
then
There we go.
like if you didn't look at him, he'd start playing it with his nose. It was like, yeah, his attention thing. So like nose flip. It was great. Yeah, yeah, basically. You cannot ignore the
That's
bagpipes.
Play the bag.
People actually know more than one song on bagpipes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
there's just that There's just that one song that I always hear.
You definitely need the notes on the back to be able to play that one song. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I've got to go to sleep, guys.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
it's nice meeting you.
it was. It was. All the best. Sleep well.
Bye.
Here's a
Bye.
good night song.
Cool. That was fun.
Bye.
You guys still have your shades on. I need to put mine on.
Ah. Ah.
Yeah. I think, actually, so people can see my beautiful luscious eyes.
There we go.
There they are.
My room looks atrocious, Ben. You didn't prepare me for this at all.
Let's not
are-
talk about this. We'll lose viewers. We've got a
bed's
peak
not
of
made.
3 right now. We've got 3 viewers. That's never happened in the history
Welcome,
of this
viewers.
video chat.
Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. I'm going to totally talk about something that no one has ever heard about before. Let's talk about personal things, just so we can keep people's attention. Hear that, guys? Personal things. Oh my goodness. Freaking
No,
out.
that is just too far.
So let's talk about where we get our inspiration from creatively, because we're all creative people. Where I'm going to turn it black and white so you can't see my cold nose. Where do you get your inspiration from, Elijah, for when you compose music? Because you're a brilliant musician. You write some fantastic scores and songs, and creatively you want to pursue your creative dream and become a composer for movies. So where do you get it from, and kind of like what are you going to do with it? Oh, I think we're frozen. Oh no. This isn't fun.
Well, I'm all good, apparently.
Yeah, you're good. Elijah's frozen. Let's talk to you, Julian. Where do you get your creative fuel from?
Oh, okay. Creative fuel in general, I don't really know. It just sort of happens. I being pretty, I don't know. I I tend to try and not let things affect me in general, so it's hard to say whether
So
something
you're an emotional potato. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like you're gonna have to peel me to get through to me, I
You're gonna
guess.
have to cut you up and bake you and turn you into some French fries and dip you in ketchup before you ever get to the emotional aspect of Julian Hofsink.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm pretty open-minded, I guess, and
Okay.
that allows me to accept a lot of things, and that I guess influences me.
Okay.
So while I also have a lot
So
to
You're
complain
kind of
about,
like a house with its doors open, and the wind just comes in and blows in what it likes and blows out what it likes.
and yeah, so while I don't enjoy everything, because generally I'm pretty cynical about most things and like to shrug things off, I also consider most things and try and see where people are coming from.
Okay,
And
that's cool.
in regards to how that affects my music or how I write, I listen to pretty much every genre of music imaginable. From
Yes.
I can give you my favorite country recommendations, I can give you my favorite death metal recommendations,
Yeah,
and
cool.
I can give you my favorite classical recommendations. Like
Do you
you
listen
asked
to,
me,
do you listen to jazz metal?
I do, jazz fusion metal, yeah. I can't think of any bands, but there are some great songs.
Elijah, where's your inspiration come from
Yeah.
in a shorter sentence of what Julian had to say? Because his was kind of like someone did diarrhea in his
Well,
mouth.
because I just don't know, so
No, I'm kidding.
Inspiration.
Sorry, to anyone watching this, we kind of assault each other, but it's in a friendly manner.
you won't
can't
listen
hear
to me, so
Elijah.
I don't know.
Trying to say it's kind of completely silent. Well, I'll talk about where I get my inspiration from until we get Elijah back, because he's muted for some reason. Elijah, if you can hear this, you need to unmute yourself.
I could hear him before.
Yeah, me too. So where I get my inspiration from
Yep.
is
Yep.
I, as Julie and Elijah kind of talked about, I see life as this gift that kind of we're given, and I'm challenged constantly by how blessed I'm in what sort of position I'm in Australia, really, to be able to have an education, to be able to have a roof over my head, and to be able to have a light illuminating my face so I look pretty, and clean water and all these things. And so a lot of it was fear when I was younger, was fear that I didn't want to not make the most of the opportunities I had, because I know that people in underdeveloped countries were trying and working so much harder and they had so much less. And so when I was working McDonald's and things like that in crappy jobs and getting paid like $6 an hour to be a crew manager, at the age of like 14, it was that was one of the things that kind of kept me going, and that's sort of something that comes into my creativity. I kind of push to embrace many different genres, kind of like to give life a bit of a hug and explore lots of different avenues. So I'm studying advertising at the moment, so that's kind of basically what advertising is. It's all about going out, learning about new cultures, learning about new experiences, and then applying it in a commercial regime. However, I'll talk about advertising later because that's another topic. Elijah.
So, can you hear me, Ben?
Yep.
Is Elijah
Julie,
still
can you
muted?
hear me? No.
Do I
I
need to unmute
tell.
you? Maybe if I've muted him now, and now if I unmute him. Oh man, this
Bah.
is so unprofessional. You can hear Elijah, but I can't.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, Elijah, if you can exit and then join again, and we'll talk more with Julian. I'll talk about advertising. So the reason I'm doing advertising is basically to learn the tactics of manipulation through visuals and words and all those sorts of things. Use them as an influencer to kind of promote societal views and promote relationships among communities, and promote non-for-profit organizations like World Vision, and organizations who are generally trying to help humanity progress in the social realm. Because unfortunately, this society we live in is very capitalist based, and that's not a bad thing. It's just we overconsume so much now that we're destroying our earth, that we're basically polluting it, and there's a whole bunch of evidence on that, and there's a whole bunch of evidence stating that oil companies are funding lobbyist groups to kind of protest against global warming and these sorts of things. And that's taught in my course, right? So it's not an uncommon thing in the academic realm. It's just the general population don't know about half of what's going on with corporations and their sort of abuse of society. And the reason I love advertising so much is I get to learn about that, and I get to kind of plug my own opinion in that at the same time. Michael's just tagged us. So that's really cute. Oh, I love you, Michael. And so where was I? So yeah, so basically, I could talk about this all night, but I'll give you a lowdown of the reason I'm doing it really quickly. So corporations own a whole bunch of money and people and resources, and they're kind of like the economic driver for countries' development. The issue with that is that governments rely on corporations and rely on their funds to kind of keep things going. Corporation dollars fund public sectors and public places like TV channels or commercial channels, more so in Australia. In America, it's also schools and things like that. In Australia, it's mainly TV and radio. The issue with corporations having control over communication is they can basically tell us what we need to think and believe and what's important and what's relevant, and in order for us to buy products. And this is done in very insidious ways. But yeah, so I kind of just want to throw in the reference to ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, throw an icy cold bucket of water over people's heads and make them realize that they are getting manipulated on a daily basis to buy things, and that hole and void they feel in their life is because of this desire to just keep consuming and having their identity shaped by the products they have rather than the person they are. So that's that. Sorry, that was long-winded. Elijah, go. Musical
You
inspiration.
can hear me now, Ben.
Yes.
Yes, that's good. Musical inspiration. Well, to cut it short, music for me is an extremely emotional thing. I wouldn't be doing music if it didn't touch me on an emotional level, both listening to music and playing music. I think I first fell in love with music, can't remember the exact moment, but when, you know, everyone's had that type of music that's just really, something has really touched them inside with, you know, some sort of music. And I guess my inspiration for following music and actually wanting to become a composer is to be able to recreate these emotions, my emotions, put them into my music, and kind of talk to people without talking to them. You know, giving them this sense.
So it's that universal
emotion through
communication,
music.
right? It goes
Definitely,
across
definitely.
language barriers. It goes across cultural barriers. You can talk to people regardless on their academic background.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That's
Yeah, because
awesome.
music is just so hardwired into our beings.
Emotion. Yeah.
Like, yeah, the cultures, languages, countries, you know, you're going to be able to communicate in a sense through music.
Yeah, that's great.
And what kind of ties in with that is when I started out learning piano at a young age. I think the age of 8, going through the various grades of piano. And to begin with, I hated it. You know, it was just a chore kind of thing. And it wasn't until I felt some sort of, well, firstly, some sort of emotion in what I was playing, and also when I developed the ability to actually create my own music, is when it really started. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I guess talking in a sense of who and what inspires me, I really, really enjoy
Julian.
Julian. He's the one. He's the one who's inspired me.
Julian is our inspiration. Look at that face, that jawline, those long, luscious eyelashes, and his ability to have kindergarten wallpaper but still be cool.
So true.
It's juxtaposed with my
with your Muse
Ibanez metal guitar there.
That's great. It's like jazz metal.
Yeah, it's who I am. It's
that combination.
That balance.
That's fantastic.
No, can I chime in and say that the whole musical inspiration thing, finding that moment when music touches you on a sort of emotional level, is, I guess I can sort of relate to that in that, no, I'm not generally an emotional person, but that music has elicited those sorts of reactions from me before.
Yeah.
Not so much in the whole emotional sense, but in the sense that, you know, a section of a song or a riff or something can really, you know, send shivers down your spine, and you go, that is amazing. That is
Definitely.
awesome. And
that almost hypersensitive emotion.
So it's like there's my Muse poster there, probably back to front. But I guess one of the first bands that did that for me was I would have been about 12, and I started listening to
wearing a flat cap and riding a scooter.
No,
Red Bull.
Wearing sneakers and jeans and playing RuneScape. And so it was one of their B-sides, so like I was pretty like hipster when it came to music and it was one of their like off their EPs. They have a song called The Groove, and the riff was just like this guitar and bass, really heavy, punchy hitting riff that like sent shivers down my spine, and it was incredible. I was like,
Yep.
this is the sort of music that I want to write and stuff. And I guess, yeah, that inspired me a lot. And
That
in recent
punch.
times,
That emotional
that
punch that
like,
comes
the
from
thing
the
is,
riff.
I want to. It's the same thing that
It's like
happens
getting
if I
hit
hear
by
like,
Muhammad Ali in boxing, except less painful.
except
Yes.
not not detrimental to your health.
Yeah, you won't lose brain cells. Unless, of course, you're listening to it at high decibels, in which case you lose your hearing and brain cells, possibly. And possibly blood, too, out your ears. But, you know, that's just how it goes when you listen to loud music.
But it's the same sort of thing. It's the same sort of thing as if when you hear that you know, that John Mayer guitar solo or something, just the little moment where
That
you know
melt in your mouth.
there's that perfect sound, and it just makes you go, oh, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to do that for people as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's because I come from a surfy background. It's kind of like when you catch that perfect wave, right? And you're just getting propelled along it, and everything's just right. The sun's out, it's shining, it's glistening like diamonds off the water, and the water just kind of trickles over you, and it's that beautiful propulsion into nature, which is what
And
music
also,
is.
may I
when you
add,
write.
And also, you see a dolphin
A dolphin
attacking a shark.
Attacking a shark.
No, shark. Something that you thought would
That
never
is
be
that
possible.
is if that is if it's
And
death,
that is a great
reversed.
that is if it's death metal, right? Dolphins attacking sharks.
Well, yeah.
In a
But
whirlwind
my
of death.
in a metaphorical sense, what I'm meaning is something that you wouldn't have thought was possible before.
Yeah.
This,
And then
you
a
know,
unicorn
and that can-
suddenly jumps out of the dolphin's mouth and farts
Exactly.
a rainbow.
Yeah.
And you realise
Actually,
you've
no,
actually
just-
just been sniffing something a little too potent.
Yes.
That's called Jimi Hendrix music right there.
Yep.
So I will talk about myself really quickly, and we're going to lose all of our total of 3 viewers within a few moments. I'm from Manchester, and I'm currently now living in Melbourne.
Okay.
A little bit about me now is that what's happened. I study advertising, which you know, and I'm working for Mark Holden. And Mark Holden is you might know him as the Australian Idol judge, who does the touchdown. Or you might know him as the teenage singer or the Bieber from the 1970s. Excuse me. 1970s, 1980s. Who sang Wanna Make You My Lady. Anyway, he's coming out with a documentary series called Holden Brothers Traveling Circus. It's an album, and he's on Dancing with the Stars too, to promote that. And so I've basically been doing ad work and video work for that, and kind of helping him out with PR and talking about radio interviews and Twitter. I haven't been running his Facebook page for the last few months. His daughter's been doing that. But I've been doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. So I've been doing contacting people, iTunes departments, and contacting funding reps, and kind of just trying to get the word out there, as well as trying to get certain things that Mark thinks I'm capable of doing into his hands. So yeah, that's been an amazing experience so far. Just moving to Melbourne, I never would have thought that could have happened within the first few months of being here, and super blessed for that to happen. And I'll be behind the scenes on Dancing with the Stars, which is coming up next month. So look out for my little blonde head
Shameless
getting in
promotion.
frame when I shouldn't be.
So, what channel and what time is that, Ben?
So,
I know I'll be
guys, finishing this ad off because, self-plug, the time is prime time, just after the news, and it's on Channel 7.
No way! The
Uh-huh.
stars aligned.
Be there.
The stars align for Dancing with the Stars on Channel 7.
Hey, hey, hey!
But But in terms of bringing it back to music, that's a really cool thing for me because he's written a lot of big pop tunes, right? Like massive pop tunes. He managed a heap of different artists over the years, and he's been in America doing the same thing. And one of his good friends is David Hasselhoff, which you might know from that beach sequence where he's running with Pamela Anderson to Chariots of Fire. And
I might think of the SpongeBob scene where he launches from his chest.
But no, it's been a really good experience
David Hasselhoff.
musically too, because I've been able to hang around with people who are really talented in what they do. And one gig, Vishnya, who just blew my mind away. She could play the harp, the flute, the piano, the ukulele, the guitar. She sang like an absolute angel, and oh my gosh, she was just like, whoa, how's this person, what is she doing with her life? And she was teaching, and she was just really fantastic, lovely lady who was just using her talents to help people one-on-one individually. And that's the next question we should ask, right? Because you guys are both musically quite talented. Do you see yourself furthering your musical talent so you can mass produce it, or to sort of do it on a scale where it's just shared with friends and family, or just for yourself, or commercially backing other products and projects like composing for other artists? Elijah, go.
Yep.
Well, I guess I'll start with my dream. My dream would be to just compose music for, you know, big feature films or TV shows or this kind of thing, games, like video games, big video games, that kind of thing. That's my dream. But you know,
Which is achievable for you.
Which is achievable. But the thing that I think keeps me going is I say it to myself every now and then, is if I were to be writing music and no one in the world would ever see it except for myself, would I still be writing it, kind of thing?
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, would it still bring me enjoyment? Would I be writing it?
Yeah, that's great.
And so that's a big yes for me, kind of thing, because it's just such a love of my life.
Yeah. And that's a great thought to have, right? Because it's so easy to get caught up on what other people think, and producing music so you can be popular, or producing music so people can kind of love you and love the work that you do, right? And that's a great question to ask, because not being selfish in any way, saying, hey, I'm only producing this music for myself, but rather, is my heart really in it for the right reasons? Am I doing this for fame, or am I doing it because this is what this is the talent that's been put into my life that should be used to bring fulfillment in my life, and hopefully to share my passion of life with other people. So that's a great attitude to have. And so you want to compose for video games. Do you have any sort of goals set up to kind of achieve that yet? What's your plans next year?
Next year I am planning to further my studies, because I'm in year 12 at the moment, just finishing off my studies. I'm planning to move over to Melbourne, where the lovely Ben lives at the moment, hoping to study music composition further, so that'll be just like an undergraduate course for 3 years, and then after that I will probably...
You'll probably...
Oh,
he's cut out again. Oh,
no. Well,
he's
what?
Well, that was fun.
What will we
Julian,
probably...
you. How's life? What's your plans for next year? And what's...
Oh wait, he's back. We've got him.
back? Is he back?
I'm back.
Batman.
Okay, we had this real moment of suspense.
Where did I get up to?
Dude, it was like it was
You
an
got
ad
up to the
break,
word-
and Ben just came and talked about Dancing with the Stars, and now you're back. Previously on The Voice, Elijah discussed his passion for music. Keep going.
Where was I up to? Where did it cut out?
It
So I
cut
think I
out at
kept
probably.
going.
Cut
Wasn't
out with you
noted.
saying you're going to Melbourne.
Oh, okay. Yeah, going to Melbourne. I want to study further, music composition.
Yep.
And probably just keep studying as much as I can.
Yeah, cool.
Because I love learning. I probably after the first 3 years of like my first course, like an undergraduate course.
You just drop out.
Yeah, I'll just drop out now. No, I'll think about what I want to do and where I am. You know, whether I do a teaching degree as well.
Yep.
Get a job in a school as well, because I also love working with kids, working with children, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
Like I love it so
and
much.
Kind of passing your passion
of
for
mine,
music
but,
on to
you
the
know,
next
to be a
generation.
teacher in, say, primary school. Yeah,
That's
definitely.
great.
Yeah.
That's great. And so
Yeah,
when
which
we
is
both get
it's also
married
another-
and have lots of kids, I'll have
Not
13
yet.
babies and you can have
Yeah.
12. We can start our own
Okay.
school, and we'll start our own orphanage for
That's good.
Julian's love
Yeah.
child's children.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. That's never going to happen. Julian is a moral man who is not planning on impregnating any ladies in the future. Well, except his wife, maybe. But apart from that, no,
keep going.
I don't think he's got those plans. I hope not.
Just
Julian,
keep going,
please
Ben.
confirm. Just please confirm that this hole that I'm digging isn't true.
Well, sorry, what was the question? I was too busy digging a hole.
Okay, Jules, what's your plans for next year is the question.
Well, my plans next year is to hopefully pass year 12.
That's a nice plan.
Which I know I'll pass, but I have to get my head screwed on and work really hard, which I'm not used to doing.
Okay.
But in terms of what I want to be doing next year, I've got some goals of that I want to be regularly.
The very best.
regularly.
No one ever was. Dun, 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 dun. Catch them is my real test. To train them is my course. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Dun, dun,
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun, dun.
To free Pokemon, the power that's inside. And Elijah goes,
Pokemon, ooh, you marry your friend. That's not the lyric that's supposed to happen.
anyway,
It's
sorry, I got
Pokemon
sidetracked when Julian said some lyric that was in Pokemon. So back to your story.
What was I saying? Oh, okay. I want to be busking regularly. Hopefully that'll start soon, and that'll allow me to get myself out there a bit more, doing what I want to be doing. In
Yeah,
terms
cool.
of post year 12, I have no idea. In terms of like pursuing music as a career, I know that for what I do, and that is, if I want to keep going solo, then I sing and I play guitar, and I know there's 1,000,001 other people who do that like
Yeah.
better than me, and that's something, that's good for them if they want to pursue that. But I know that's a really flimsy career option for me. If I don't know my music theory and I don't know all that, so I can't just study, get a degree and get into it that way. I have to be really
The very best. No one ever
I do
was.
have to be the very best, and
Well,
it's
coming from a
And so-
marketing standpoint, you definitely don't have to be the best. It's all about how you present an image to the public and how you sell yourself, which is a sad thing, to be honest, in society, but it's completely true, right? For instance, Bose speakers, a poo house. It's as if someone went to their local public toilet, decided to pull out the feces out from that whole day and put it on Bose's advertising. Oh, product more so. Their advertising is brilliant, and because their products, like, $2 drivers, right? Paper thin drivers, compared to Baron Wilkins speakers, which are like amazing carbon fiber, and you've got Kevlar drivers with solid hardwood finishes for the same price, but no one knows about them. It's all about how you market it and how you position yourself in a person's mind. So, for instance, when we did Rock Challenge, we wore bow ties, right? And that was our little thing, and we had our little sort of groove going on. Like, we weren't great, in all seriousness. We weren't that flash hot. We were all right. But the stage show really propelled us forward in a commercial sense, because there was an image that people could associate with, and they go, "Oh, that's those guys, the guys with the purple bow ties," with one who's single.
I am back.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters, the single one. We still have hope, all the screaming girls say. So, alright, you guys can ask me some questions now, because, I feel like some questions my way.
Questions.
I talk too much as it is, so.
I like your voice though, Ben. It's just beautiful.
I can't hear Elijah. Elijah's muted again.
I
Dude,
can hear him. He was
silence
just
of the
saying how
lamb.
beautiful your voice is.
How beautiful my voice is.
Can you hear me now?
Have you noticed that I've got like a horse in it at the moment? I went to the local show and saw some jumpers and some jockeys, and I asked, "Where's your friends?" And they said, "Oh, the horses, they're over there." And I just had a munch on them, and yeah, now it's my voice. So, cool. Questions for me. Go, Julian. Go fire away.
Well,
Or we could chuck it out to the viewers, right? We got 3 viewers. If you guys have questions, the viewers, the whole 4 viewers, and I'm sure they're actually watching. Like, to be watching this far in is a bit of a commitment. It's almost like marriage. It's so full on. It's like watching
Yeah,
grass
brother.
grow or paint dry, or 3 boys talk about nothing important. If you've got any questions, send them through to the chat if you can. Otherwise, you'll be friends with me on Facebook, I reckon. So pop them through the Facebook Messenger. Any questions for any of us, and we'll talk about it. But otherwise, Julian, fire away. Your question.
well, Ben, we'll start with talk about your musical inspiration if you haven't already.
No, I have, but
Is
we'll
that,
pretend I haven't.
I don't know.
A lot of it,
Was
to
there
be honest,
Was there a moment where you felt sort of, I guess,
touched
connected or emotionally touched
with
by music?
By music. Ah, far out too many times. I think because I live in a shared house with 8 people, everyone has so many different musical backgrounds. And
Yeah.
so we have this stereo system in the house that's generally got music playing on it from someone's phone. And
Yeah.
Andrew, who you heard before, loves jazz and loves blues and just has a real appreciation for fine music. And so whenever he puts his phone on and music starts playing through and there's this new, just illustrious, just meaty jazz artist playing, I just get tingles and I'm like, oh, I know I've got a great day. What is the first tunes you learned from Michael Ballard? Okay, first tune I learnt Smoke on the Water. I think that's for everyone. Doom, 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 doom.
Wait,
doom.
can I?
No, I don't
How
think
do
it
I?
was. I think for
How do
me
I
it
recommend
was
a song?
amazing. Our God is He reigns from heaven above with will. It's a church song, because a random. Well, he wasn't a random. He was a great man, and he still is. He's alive, thank goodness. Named Craig, who played guitar, and he asked me if I wanted to play a song in church with him. And I never played guitar before, and I said, sure, why not? My dad played guitar, but dads aren't cool, so you don't follow what your dad does. But Craig said, hey, do you want to play guitar? So I said, yeah, sure. And I learnt a church song, I think it was Our God, and it was like D, G, and C, I think, and then I kind of got that buzz for you can kind of make a backing track here, and then I got propelled in grade because I didn't start really playing guitar till grade 7, and then grade 8, I kind of really learnt it all within a year. But then it started jumping into rock bands, and there's that community experience, and you can kind of all communicate with one another through music, and then you look up to people who can communicate better. It's kind of like a baby, right? When a baby comes out of the womb for the first time and sees the light, in this case music, right? They're trying to understand what's going on, and they slowly develop language and skills, and the more that they participate in conversation, the better they get. So for me, it was like I was just born out of a metaphorical womb into this land of music, of new communication, and I just wanted, after that, I kind of just really had an itch to be able to communicate with people through music and tell stories through that, and just have fun with music, because music's just a great way of just getting strangers together to just discuss things through sound. So that question came in from Michael Ballard. What was the first tune you learnt? So what was the first tune you learnt, Jules?
This is a good story. Okay, so the first song I ever learnt was Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day.
Okay.
That's 4 chords: E minor, G, D, A, I think, yeah. And that was the very first thing I learnt. That was my brother. He was getting guitar lessons, and so he showed me those 4 chords to play that song. And at the time, he just dumbed down the chords into these just two finger positions.
Yep.
And I practiced that non-stop, absolutely non-stop. I don't know why. I don't know what willed me to just play those chords over and over again, but I guess it was just that thought that I was actually playing a song. It felt kind of cool. But in the end, I got quite good at those chords, as basic as they were. I got real familiar with the whole thing, and I got interesting strumming patterns going, and it was, I don't know, and I just kept going with it and kept going, and then there's something going down there. And
No, it's a housemate. Eva, you're live on YouTube right now, so you want to come in and say hello so people don't think you're just a random stranger who just massaged me. So I'm just having a discussion on YouTube about music and musical influences.
Hello.
Hey, and there's Katrina. My room is basically
it's all happening.
House.
What's
for
your name?
discussion.
I can't see you, but
Come in, Katrina.
I'm Julian. Pleased to meet you. It's meet and greet here
Can
on
I
the.
see him?
Oh yeah, definitely. I put him
Can't
up.
see.
There we go.
Okay.
There's
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you, Julian.
Do you think Julian's
Welcome
an
to meet
attractive
and greet
fellow? You think
here
he's
on
good
the recommended retail price live stream.
Did you hear Ben's question to me?
No, what was that?
Oh, are you an attractive? I said to Eva, do you think you're an attractive fellow? And I said, say yes, but that's my own bias coming in there because I think you're attractive.
I like the
hairdo.
The facial structure.
Yes.
It's acceptable.
Facial structure.
Really
the shape.
Quick background on Eva. Eva's a housemate of mine.
Your favorite housemate.
Okay, we'll go with that. And she also is into music and loves music. We're discussing music influences and what was the first song we ever learned. Eva's a singer. Let's sing a song, Eva.
No, I'm not singing a song right now.
We've only got 3 people watching this right now.
I have a cold.
So you ready? Me too.
We're not singing
Can you
that.
grab my capo? Is that alright?
Yeah, whatever.
Just on that amp. It's the black one. Okay, you ready? Get ready for this. It's a live musical experience, right?
I'm so ready.
Okay, here we go.
There you go.
Okay,
You're
I'll
good.
take that off. Alright. Are we
Can
ready?
they still hear me if I sit here? Because I need to.
I'm back.
Yeah, no. Can you go on your knees? Is that alright?
Yeah, I've got arthritic knees.
Okay, ready?
I don't know the song.
'Cause I know you, and you got me. And there's no need to worry, I'm right where I wanna be. And though I feel so undeserving, I know you're right by my side, and I know I'm fine. I know I'm fine. And who I'm alright. You got me in your hands tonight. Yeah, and who I'm alright. You're in my arms tonight.
That's good. Yay.
Oh, I've got a cold too.
Yay.
Everyone's got a cold in this house, including Andrew.
Is he
No,
clapping?
I'm cured.
What
You're
is he
cured?
doing? I can't hear anything that's happening.
You're cured? I'm not cured. Oh wait, it wasn't even on us the whole time. It was on Julian. I'm so sorry. So sorry, everybody. It's okay.
They got to see me
Andrew.
sit there and smile awkwardly.
So you've met 3 of my housemates within the last few minutes.
Yeah.
Do you want me to be a bit quiet now?
Bye! Love y'all. Is he the one that's going to live in a house, maybe?
Yeah, that's Elijah. Elijah's
I
the one
met
who
you in
might
Melbourne
be
Central.
moving in to Melbourne. Okay.
Bye!
Bye.
Hey everybody. Can you close my door? Yeah. Cheers.
Wow, demanding.
So that's my housemates, and I've just lost a few viewers there, so I apologise everybody. If you think that was boring.
Can you hear me, Ben?
Yes, just.
That's good. That's great.
So
Just.
that was fun. So you met them. That's great. That's great. Great to hear. Great news. What were we talking about? We were
The
talking.
first song. Ask Elijah. Elijah, what was the first song you ever learnt?
They're here now, aren't I? The first song I ever learnt.
I better make sure I change it so it's on different people.
It was probably some preliminary grade piano piece that I don't remember. But yeah, I'll go outside of grade music that I had to learn. The first piece that I learnt on my own accord.
On your own accordion? What?
I had an accordion. I learnt piano on a piano accordion. That's how I learned. No. It was actually, strangely enough, even though I wasn't allowed to watch these movies until I was much older, was the Pirates of the Caribbean theme song. I think I heard it somewhere. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. I want to learn that. So I with the little musical knowledge I had, I got the piece and I got the music for it and I just like put it on repeat in some like headphones and just sat at the piano and just tried to figure it out note by note. And because I wasn't that musically talented back then, it took me forever, but I was really dedicated to it.
Forever. So you're still kind of working on it then?
Yeah. Well, yeah. That was an exaggeration, Ben. I don't know if you know what that is.
No, I don't. Didn't study English writing.
But yeah, so that's the first piece I learnt. Yeah, pretty much.
Awesome. Cool. Michael wants a guitar solo, so can you sing some stuff, Jules? Sing something you've learnt. Sing, how about you do, like, a bit of John Mayer?
Now is not the right time since I've got. This is my cheap beginner guitar that's worth probably
2 cents.
$15 if I were to sell it now.
If you were to sell
my
it to a
actual
sucker.
good guitar is out there somewhere.
There
And
somewhere in
plus
the store. He hasn't purchased it
weird.
yet. Okay, well, speaking of John Mayer, you were playing this on show off saying that, yes, I did learn it 5 minutes before this conversation just to show you. Which is, I don't really know it, to be honest. I'm probably going to screw it up. Yeah, so that was for you.
Wicked.
And I don't need no doctor.
It's a good riff.
Cool.
One thing I think about
Let's talk about some other things. So I'm going to talk about inspiration for me because I didn't really talk about it, to be honest. A lot of my best music has come from emotional turning points in my life. So whether it was the soppy love story or whether it was being ill or having something happen in philosophically, having a realization about the world, or family or friends or whatever, like moments where I'm the most down or the most happy, those sort of highs and lows, those peaks is when I kind of just drain all that emotional energy and try and throw it into audible communication. But I know for Elijah that Elijah's just magic, and he can literally pull a symphony out of his hat and think of it in his head and compose it whilst I'm sitting next to him, and he'd just be like, "Here's the bass line, Ben. Here's the flute. And then there's a choir going in the background going, Elijah is so amazing. And then they harmonize, Elijah is so amazing. Elijah is so amazing. If you put that all together, that's Elijah's brain times 5. So, awesome. We might wrap it up, but do you have any questions, Elijah or Julian, for me, and or for each other?
Like, no,
Or if anyone's
the
got
top of my
any
head.
requests on this video that you want things to happen or things to be talked about before we finish up, let us know ASAP.
Well, on that topic of jazz, I'd like to quickly recommend one of my favourite jazz songs at the moment. Could I send a link? Can I do a plug for a great song? I don't know.
Oh man,
It's called
I gotta
The
plug.
Star Boys. The Star Boys by Chris Letchford.
Chris
Really
Letchford. You
good.
can't go past Chris Letchford though. Let's be honest.
Give it a listen. The Star Boys. Chris Letchford. Top notch
I love-
jazz.
I love now I'm gonna sound like a real tool because I can't even remember their names. Doesn't matter. Let's pretend I wasn't gonna make a recommendation. I was like, yes, this cool jazz funky band. It's called like Lettuce or something. It's literally got a vegetable name. I'm not even sure. Which famous musicians do you admire and why? Okay. You go first.
Well, okay. I was gonna say Elijah, take it away, but
All right, I'll go.
he's disappeared.
Musicians I admire. One is John Mayer. I think most guitarists in our age bracket can admire him. He's a bit of a player and he's a bit of a horrible person in his heyday, but his music spoke wisdom beyond his attitude to people. So
Yeah.
I think musically he was brilliant, and now he's maturing as a person as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I also, oh man, there's so many people. I think that would be the most mainstream one. There's been plenty of people over time, but really people in my life who play music have influenced me the most. So Elijah's influenced me, Julian's influenced me, Ruben Coops, James Ballard, Michael Ballard, like people who I see around me playing music. My dad, Craig Priest, big time, because he kind of said, "Hey, come and play this song with me."
Yeah.
To be honest, like you could listen to these brilliant musicians all you want and appreciate them, but it's a different thing for them to inspire you to go out and actually want to do it. It's kind of like looking at a Mona Lisa painting, right? And then going, oh man, I'm going to totally paint like that. Like that just doesn't happen. You don't see Mona Lisa like some people do, and then just go, yeah, I'm going to paint that. Great. It's about the people in your life who really kind of take the care to try and nurture you in your skill or in your craft that have really influenced my music. Elijah, who's influenced you musically? Okay, Elijah's gone again. Julian. By the way, Elijah's using a phone, everyone, because he doesn't have a webcam, so that's why he's probably dropping in and out.
I see. My biggest musical inspirations would definitely be my family, because I've always been very close to my brother, and so he was the one to initially teach me guitar, and so I guess if not for him, I wouldn't have gotten so into music. You know, I gathered most of my my love for certain bands and stuff from my brother, and also a lot from my sister, who is also an absolute incredible
genius, far out,
incredible pianist.
Yeah, absolutely, she is
right up there. She can compose incredible songs. It's it's awesome. She knows everything she needs to know about all the theory. Very much like Elijah in that she can play just about anything. Right.
Except she has a pretty face, whereas Elijah, it's kind of like, looks like he's been smushed by a grizzly bear. No, it's not true. Elijah's very, very handsome. If you took Rowan Atkinson's comedy and mixed it with Chris Hemsworth's good looks, you would have Elijah Bradbury.
I'd reverse it the other way around, but
can't hear a thing he's saying right now, so I just hope that he got that last bit.
Yes.
Otherwise, it would be very offensive to him. Cool. Elijah, you still got no sound, but musical influences for you. You might need to end and come back. I'll do a little tap dance until then.
I wish I could talk about like which famous artists have really influenced me. Other than...
Oops, I think I just discluded him from the call by accident.
Oh dear.
I hope not.
Just nullified him.
It's just like, nah, I've had enough of you, Elijah. Okay, you can talk about that, man. Talk about famous ones if you want.
Well, I would, but it would just be John Mayer.
Right, I know. He comes back to that. Like, there's so many that it's ridiculous.
But yeah.
But he was just consistent. And
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
Our time growing up.
Well, I guess I've learnt a lot from him in that he's someone who knows so much about everything to do with music, yet he chooses to write songs as simple as he does.
Absolutely.
And he does that to make it accessible to everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen cases where he absolutely shreds out. He goes crazy. But when it comes down to it, he chooses to do what he wants to do with all the skill that he has. So in recent times, he got a lot of flack because he started making a lot of country music.
Yeah.
His second most recent album, Born and Raised, is very country-ish, but I'm gonna say it's my favorite John Mayer album. Like all the songs are so good, and that's what inspires me is those really simple,
Those
really
artists who have
simple songs.
talent
They're
but are
they're
humble.
simple, but they're hard. They're
Yeah,
they're so just expertly written. Like,
absolutely.
you know, all his thought and time has gone into crafting a perfect
That's it.
song that
He's
he
not
it's
trying to just show
exactly
off,
as he
right?
wants it. Mm.
He's not like you know, you've all read those or you've all written those essays just with a whole heap of big words. And sure, they might make you sound smart, but everyone can kind of see through it, and there's no kind of like underlying meaning. It's all just about trying to show off and be the best. Like at times, Steve Vai was kind of like that. You know what I mean? It was all just about shredding your heart out until, and that's great. Like it inspires a lot of young guys to kind of go, "Oh yeah, I'm going to use my aggression to play on the guitar." And he's still a great musician, and but like really, really early on when he was kind of just showing off was a bit. But now his music's just brilliant, and it's been brilliant for many years. But I think all
Yeah.
guitarists go through that stage of just being show-offs to actually having something that they can craft, right? It's like children. It's again going back to that baby metaphor. It's like children learning new words, and they're like just start shouting it out everywhere. Mum, 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 mum! I can say mum! Oh my goodness! Everyone listen! Like you know, with the first guitarist who learned "Smoke on the Water," like they come up and go, "I can play a song! Oh my goodness! Come and listen to this!" Boom, 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 and you're like, "Oh no, here we go." Someone's just been born into the music world. There's a bit of labour pain going on at the moment for every other musician. Okay, Elijah, musicians who've influenced you.
Musician. It's a deadly question because I could speak for hours about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's true.
But
Don't be
I've gone
afraid to say
through.
John Mayer.
No,
No, he's a
to that.
pianist. Come on, man.
Well, yeah. Anyway, I've gone through lots of stages of liking different music,
Hmm.
and I was actually just talking to Mum earlier about this, and it might seem weird
He has a
and
mother.
strange, but yes, I have a mother. It might seem weird and strange, but
And he has a
First-
mother.
the first artist that inspired me in a general musical sense, as well as my own kind of personality and humor, was,
Mm.
in fact, Weird Al Yankovic.
That's cool. That's
Which-
cool.
That the first
Yeah.
artist I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this guy can make other people's music sound like his own music in a really
That's
weird
cool.
way.
Mm.
So that was my first stage of music, and then I moved on to bands like Reliant K and Reliant K in their early years of punk stuff and everything. That was when I was still quite young, and I guess that was a stage when I was just looking up to my elder brothers because they were older and were listening to music, and I was like, I'll listen to their music. But
Yeah, that's cool.
more recently, in the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a plethora of jazz artists, jazz fusion artists, such as a band called the Yellow Jackets,
Chris
The leather,
Letch.
the leather jackets, the
the Purple
unfashionable
Jackets,
jackets,
the Felt Coat Jackets.
the felt coat jackets, the velvet jackets, velvet pants. I was in a band called the Velvet Pants.
Oh yeah. No, but like the Yellow Jackets, pianist by the name of Chick Corea, like awesome jazz pianist. Who else? A band called Dirty Loops, who started out on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
Um,
dirty
I
loops,
was-
dirty loops, all the way.
I noticed them from the second video that they ever uploaded to YouTube.
Yes.
So I've been
can say I've been a
And
long time.
Hipster claim to fame.
hipster claim to fame, exactly. Oh my goodness, everyone does it. Let's be honest. I could say that I've been watching Walk Off the Earth when they only had 52 views on their videos, but I won't do that. But I
No,
just
but yeah, Libs was my introduction to jazz funk and
Yeah.
jazz pop and pop
Let's
funk.
be honest, they blew everyone's minds away with what they could do.
It's a collaboration of so many different genres, which is
Oh, it's amazing.
what I love to do, is to bring genres together, kind of thing.
Yeah, you're kind of like a dog breeder, right? You're like,
Yeah.
ooh, I like that Chihuahua and that Dachshund. Let's make them have babies and sell them off.
Yeah. And movie composers like
Yeah, so he likes
Howard
to
Shore.
breed movie composers too.
I'm not
This
concerned
really messed up
with
scenario.
them. Although
Continue
they're
on.
quite talented, I must say. Yeah. So yeah, movie composers such as Howard Shore, who, for example, composed all the music to The Lord of the Rings. Did a couple of other, well, not a couple, a lot of other good movies. What's his name?
That guy with the face.
I can't even remember, and he's my biggest idol, and I can't.
Oh, it
remember
always
his name.
happens, right?
What the wow.
One of my favorites who I only just had to Google because I forgot his name is David Ryan Harris. He's a guitarist.
Okay.
If anyone wants to listen to him, David Ryan Harris. He's amazing. You might know him by this song. You like sugar on a hot berry, different from the ordinary. You're the sweetest berry on the vine. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, that guy. And that was really deliberately off key. But did you think of him, Elijah?
No.
Oh, that's okay.
Hang on.
That's okay.
I will find it.
Well, it's almost 12 o'clock, so we might... When do you want to end it, Jules? Have you got any other thoughts? Or you've got essays to do, right? So we probably shouldn't hold you much longer. Said this was going to be 20 minutes. Said this was going to be 20 minutes when we started. And it's been like almost 2 hours or something ridiculous like that. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. How did we do that? And it was all for these 3 viewers. Man, we're going to have some crazy fans on our hands. And by fans, I just mean friends, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Who would actually watch this unless if they're our friend. It's true.
Shout out to you, Michael Ballard.
Shout out to you, Michael Ballard, and Yossi Vandenberg, and that other Lone Ranger, which I can't figure out who it is. I'm not sure if it's me or if it's someone else. If it's someone else, send me a Facebook message. Oh, it's probably James, I reckon, if he's still watching, James Kennedy. We had 5 at one point, so that was a nice one.
It's
Yeah,
record
I know,
high.
right? 5 people actually cared about listening to 3 friends just ramble about nothing. Jewel, I was going to start talking about... We lost one. 2. I was going to start talking about games, but then we could go on forever. What's some other topics? Christianity. How does that fit into your music? Because we're all Christians, right?
Yeah. That is
You
correct
we
for me.
all have a this. We all have this desire to kind of have a relationship with the creator of the universe, which is a crazy thing when you think about it. And we see that all the mathematical and scientific and biological and musical and emotional, all these things kind of all line up to point to a creator because they kind of all sync a little too well for it to be by chance. and also the whole left by capitalism and things like that. But how does Christianity kind of tie into your music? Fire away, Julian. Otherwise, if you can't think, I'll go.
Well, that's a great question. I, for a long time, didn't really enjoy listening to like actual worship music because I thought it all sounded the same. You know, I was very much a bit dumb about that.
No, definitely not. I would say
But
so.
you know, recently I've really enjoyed listening to lots of Hillsong music, and I guess playing and jamming along with it because I don't know, it kind of takes you to a different place. I don't
Yeah, cool.
write like specifically Christian music. And I guess it doesn't shape me as much as it should.
Okay.
But of course, I do have involvement in playing drums and playing guitar for church and for
Yeah,
Christian
cool.
events and in chapel at school and
Yeah, sweet.
and so I guess I can use my music to as a God-given gift to use that as a service.
The very
As a
literal praise sense.
Yeah, as a service to other people in that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I get to play at church and at chapel to help myself and to help other people praise and worship.
Yeah, cool. So I'll talk about how Christianity impacts my creativity in music. I see Christianity as just, I suppose, an ideology and a whole way of thinking. It's not just something you do; it's a whole way of thinking, and there's no sort of rituals you have to follow, or you don't have to pray 3 times a day or in the morning or whatever. It's about having a relationship with God, just like me and Julian have a relationship now, but on a deeper level. So in that sense, as I said, my music's influenced by Julian and influenced by Elijah and influenced by Craig. It's also influenced by my relationship with God and the sort of wisdom that I see through things that were said in the Bible through Jesus, what he discussed, sort of parables he talked about, the morality issues he discussed, and humanitarian issues he talked about as well, but also through the spiritual sense, that relationship side of things comes through just in the same way that probably more proficiently that I'm influenced by Elijah and Julian. So it's not overtly, I'm not going to sing in my music, oh Jesus, I love you, whoa, yeah, so good. But the themes I talk about, right, are completely shaped around my desire to know more about God. So whilst I can write about God very overtly, I don't think that's a good way of kind of discussing themes in a open forum, because I'm all about, like, if something other than Christianity comes along which kind of makes much more, like, makes more sense and ticks all the scientific, like, Christianity for me ticks scientific, it ticks philosophical, it ticks sociological, it ticks all these boxes, right? So I went through this whole stage of figuring out if Christianity is real or not, and checking out other religions and really being heavily involved in science and winning science challenge and things like that, before I kind of settled that, okay, Christianity is what it says it is, because it's so far from what humanity wants to do that it can't be inspired from humans. It has to be inspired from a creator, and a whole lot of other things. So all this selfless, like, love your enemy. But that kind of comes through my creativity and in my music, and the themes that are discussed. So that's how Christianity comes into my creativity. For those two people who are watching, yeah, Elijah, how does Christianity come into your creativity?
For me, I've always had a tough time verbalizing my faith, and yeah, verbalizing my Christianity, in a sense that, not that it's tough for me to talk about,
But you speak in a
there's
musical
so many things
language, right? So you communicate best through music. So
that music for me is a way of letting that out, and even if other humans can't understand,
yeah,
even me, I do this quite often. I just sit down at my piano at home and I just play.
Yeah.
I just play anything,
anything. Yeah,
whatever I feel like, and I just like close my eyes, just play around kind of thing. And it's just this extreme disconnect from self kind of
Yeah.
thing, that I'm. It helps me get into a zone where I can communicate with, communicate and have a relationship with God a lot more easier. I think
Yeah,
music
right.
for me
Yeah.
is like a direct, speed subway straight to God kind of thing.
Yeah,
Really
through
helps
Jesus.
me. Yeah, through Jesus straight there. It just helps me get in the zone kind of thing.
Mm, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's a very personal thing, but I think it definitely needs to be talked about because if we've
definitely.
got if God's creative and he created all these amazing things in nature and music and our creativity kind of comes from that. I think it's definitely important to go, well, if God's the ultimate creator, how do we express our creativity to him and use it to kind of glorify the work he's done here and does through us, and the fact that we can have a calling and have a relationship and have fulfillment rather than just running around having no worth in our lives, apart from the base. Like at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you got friends and family and you got things and all these, right, you got these relationships, but like relationships are probably the most meaningful thing in life existence. So material items can just be chucked straight out the window. Experiences are generally with people as well. It's not with things, right? And music is kind of a very emotional, spiritual sort of thing going on there. But when you think about relationships being the most meaningful, then you go, well, where does these relationships come from? Where does this desire to be in a relationship come from? And you can kind of trace it back. And having that relationship with God is kind of the most fulfilling thing for me, and it stems out everything else I do. And I sometimes forget that, which is a bad thing but it means a lot to me, which is great because it means that I can have a direct tap, stealing God's creative juices. Although that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's just about Ben wanting to proclaim his own name, which is a bad thing because then it's all like, look at Ben, he's so cool, when he's really not. So yeah, on that awesome note, any final words before I hit the end button?
I think I had one more thing, kind of what you were talking about before. What was it? I can't remember now. I had it in my head. But for me, like using music as, even though I don't that's what it is. What you're talking about, even though you're not overtly going to be singing in your music about, you know, God and Christ, Jesus, and that kind of thing. Singing with the values and the insights and playing, singing and playing and communicating through music with the values, insights that
and through the way
Christianity, through
the way you are as a person too. Like, it's a lot of offstage stuff too goes on. And also, like, everyone has their own ideology. Everyone has their own thought on how the world operates, how it works. Even if they say they don't believe in something, they still believe in something. They still have an ideology and way of figuring out the social structure they're involved in, the way of defining value of what they believe is worth seeking out. So, in that sense, everyone is expressing their own ideologies through their creativity, except they don't do it in an overt way. And the issue with a lot of Christians is they're all about, well, they know quite, because it's laid out quite clearly to them, and that this is what they believe, and then they kind of attack people with these hammers and swords of creativity. It's kind of like, this is what we believe, / rather than just kind of letting the music speak for itself and using the communication tool to kind of speak God's wonder and God's creation. Because, like, flowers, right, and mountains and all these things, they don't have the word God plastered all over them or the word Jesus plastered over them, but they are so magnificent and beautiful, and it just points, right? Like, the fact of its beauty points to something greater than just a random coincidence. So I think that's what we need to do with our music. It's make beautiful music that can relate to people in such a way that it touches them and makes them go, there's something more about this than just music that's been created. There's a divine intervention in there. Awesome. Well, let's leave it there. Julian, any last words? We've got 4 minutes before 12 o'clock when I'll actually hit the cut off.
No. Other than best of luck in the big wide world to everyone.
That's awesome.
Be respectful.
To those two viewers out there.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs.
Only prescription drugs in moderation.
In moderation. Speaking of drugs, have you drunk alcohol yet, Elijah? Since you're now, 18? No, me either.
Nah.
Now, that's not a religious thing, just saying,
No,
right?
it isn't.
I'm more than fine to drink alcohol if you're a Christian or whatever. It's just me as a person. I've seen addictive natures in family and friends and destroy people. So I was kind of like, don't want to get involved in something that's that destructive because there's so many other things to enjoy. Why not enjoy the things that I know that I won't be tempted badly by?
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great. I get to hang out with mates whilst they're getting plastered, and I act as dumb as they do because I don't really care about my own image.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, this guy can have fun without getting smashed and wasted." Yeah. So it's good. Awesome. We've got a total of 2 minutes left. If anyone comes up with any questions before that time, good luck to you. Otherwise, sorry, fellas. Oh, this is a cute thing. I'm gonna read it out because I've never been encouraged from younger people that much by music. This is from Will Templeton. I found out who our third watcher was. He goes, I'd keep watching, but I'm just too tired. I've got school tomorrow. It was good though. And then he goes, it was my pleasure. It's so cool listening to other musicians' thoughts about music and stuff. Especially you guys, since you're all so much better and much more experienced than what I am. Which I don't think is true. I think Will's a great musician. but
His voice. Oh,
his voice is stunning.
voice
He's just like,
is
I could put that on my ice cream and eat it for dessert. Right? It's like runny and melty. It's like ice magic. And when it hits the road, it's like crunchy. And you're like, oh, it's so sweet. My analogies, I apologize. I should write a book with them all in them. They're just awful. They're always about food too. Let's be honest. Except I suppose they were kind of
It's
about
true.
birthing and diarrhea and other things today. Mixed it up.
You're branching out.
Okay, we have 5 seconds. Let's do a countdown. 5, 4, 3,
1.
2, 1. Bye. Oh, I can't. Oh, stop broadcasting.